Who's next? You pick.
All right, Hope, you're up.
Hey, I'm Hope. I'm Tara's partner for CSD for code.org. I teach at Southwestern College, and I also teach and do IT work at Modern Day in the South Bay.
Popcorn, Hope.
Oh, I have to pick somebody. Tasha, I don't know you very well.
Hi, I'm Tasha. I teach at Mesa College, and sorry, I'm half distracted here trying to make everything work on my computer. I'm all over the place today, but I'm excited to talk to everybody and raspberry lemonade today. Spiked. Popcorn Annie.
I'm Annie Chan. I teach middle school, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, computer introduction to computer science, exploring coding for 6th grade, and I teach integrated math. I got soju today because I went takeout down in Convoy Street yesterday. Totally recommend it. Oh, Mark.
Hi there, I'm Mark Lansberger. I'm the coordinator for curriculum and instruction in San Diego County. And I just left the classroom last summer. So I've taught high school for 20 plus years. And I don't have a beverage yet because I thought we weren't starting that till 5:30. But excited to be here. Let's see, popcorn, Patricia.
I'm Patricia. I teach at Eastlake High. I'm the teacher of APCSP and also Integrated Math 3 and the advisor for a coding club.
Nice.
Alan.
Hello, my name is Alan, and I'm the account executive for PopFizz Computer Science in California, Arizona, and New Mexico. And just here to listen to the show and looking forward to hearing about the cybersecurity course. And want to also offer free access to our platform if anybody is interested, and I'll put a link to my contact in there as well. Popcorn, Saval.
Hi, I'm Seval. I work at Los Coches Creek Middle School in El Cajon. I teach computer science only. And popcorn, Trevor.
All right, gotta start the video then. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'm Trevor Neeb. I teach computer science A and computer science principles at Chula Vista High, and I logged in 5:02. So what else was I supposed to say?
If you're drinking anything, we would like to know what you're drinking. Otherwise, popcorn someone.
A Teal's water bottle full of water.
All right, that H2O.
I have cheese pizza and blueberry muffins off to the side. So yeah. Very exciting.
Nice. Why don't you pick someone?
Oh, okay. Let's see. Let's go through this list. Who haven't we heard from? Aaron. Have we heard from Aaron?
Okay. Hello, I am Erin Prieto, and I am a teacher in Clovis for Clovis Unified School District. And Beth actually invited me. I just started taking her classes. I'm a 4th grade teacher, but I want to move into computer science. And she invited me here because I help teach cadets for the Civil Air Patrol. It's part of the Air Force Cyber Patriot. And so I'm definitely interested in what everybody has to say, and I've run the tech club and all those good things. So I'm excited to be here. It's my first time.
Welcome.
And then, oh, and Beth did say to bring a beverage,
Yeah.
Corona, hard seltzer, mango,
Ooh.
because I'm trying to behave myself too. And let's see, we have not heard from Tony.
Hello, I teach at Olympian High School, AP Computer Science A, Principles, and Cybersecurity. We've been doing the Cyber Patriot for a couple years now, and we've also worked with the University of San Diego, their cybersecurity folks up there. popcorn. Let me see who hasn't spoken. Amy.
Amy, you want to introduce yourself?
I have to introduce myself. Hi. Sorry, hold on. Just joined. Okay, let me see. Hi. Hi, my name is Amy Gucci. I'm a, what is it? Assistant teaching professor. Sorry, at UCSD. I work with Beth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So people who haven't gone yet, Antoinette, I think Dwayne is your name. Antoinette, why don't you go first?
I'll go.
Yeah. All right, I'll go. I'm Antoinette. Nice to meet you all. I am currently working with a nonprofit organization called Big Picture Learning. I work from home here in San Diego, and I also serve on the board for the San Diego chapter for CSTA. And I guess I'm vice president now.
Nice.
Yeah. And I'm going to tag my buddy Corey in.
Hi, everyone. I'm Corey Burgess, and I teach at Kearney Biomedical Science and Technology High School. And I teach geospatial science, AP Computer Science Principles, and I'm piloting CS Discoveries for the school district this year. I'm also a board member for CSTA. And my drink right now is water because I don't go into anything else until I do my run. So I run after this, then I run for wine. So that's how I work my days. So anyway, I will popcorn Dwayne.
Hi, I'm Dwayne Wesley. I'm the Department Chair of Computer Information Sciences at San Diego Mesa College. My drink of choice is tea. I'm a teetotaler, but I have a quite a selection of world-class teas, and this afternoon I'm drinking an Imperial Oolong. So.
Okay. I think we have Brian left and Aaron. Another Aaron Duran. Why don't you introduce yourself?
I'll go ahead and do mine. I am Erin Duran, and I'm at Sam School High School in North County, and teaching 2 different levels of computer science, the APCSP and the Exploring. And my drink is Diet Coke.
So we're gonna quickly introduce ourselves for folks who just hopped on. Andy, Susan, and Brian, why don't you just give a quick 1-second blurb about yourself?
I work at Eastlake Middle with Tara Taylor.
Cool.
Okay, can you hear me? This
Yeah.
is Brian. Yeah, so I'm a former software developer, worked for Sega, did a lot of independent contracting, and also have a degree in cognitive psychology. And I'm interested in using computers for education, basically. I'm working on a package for beginning programming. So I'm interested to learn what the teachers are all up to, what they're thinking about, and problems that they're having.
Cool. Okay. All right. We got 2 more people, and then we're going to start the lecture ASAP. So I think Andy, did you go?
I did. I'm the one who works with Tara.
Oh, okay. Right.
Who, I'm sorry, I'm like super gross and sweaty. I just cooked dinner for my family, and then I was like, I gotta go. I got a meeting.
Oh, good.
Susan from Create. I'm drinking a gin and tonic.
Nice. And then Jason Lee, why don't you go? Just quickly introduce yourself.
So I'm Jason. I work for Metacoders, which is our nonprofit branch of ThoughtStem. ThoughtStem was created by Stephen Foster, who went through Beth's. Is Beth here? I don't know. Through Beth's.
Can't make it today.
Oh, through their I forgot what it's called, but the Computer Science Education PhD program over at UCSD. Cool. So Stephen Foster, he's my boss. He went through that, and So we're working hard on getting our nonprofit branch Metacoders to quickly create online content and create online coding classes for K through 12. There is a link in the, thank you for who put the link in there, but in the CSTA happy hour link, there's a little, number 5 says check out for Metacoders for parents. Yes, if anyone wants to check out our classes, I'm in a lot of them. I teach a lot of them.
Jason, I literally just signed up my first grader yesterday with the 12-pack of classes for Metacoders. He's got his first one tomorrow.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah.
So thank you everyone for coming. I know, it's a weird time, right? And then we just want to foster a really cool sense of community among CSTA San Diego chapter. So thank you for making the time to come, especially like at 5 to 6. So today we have Tara Taylor. She's a Eastlake middle school teacher. She's also my awesome colleague at Create, and she's like one of our awesome Code.org facilitator. And she's about to tell us all about cybersecurity. So why don't you take it away, Taylor?
All right. First, I wanted to say thank you guys so much for coming. I'm a little bit shocked at how many people actually showed up. I'm really happy to see Patricia, who is the high school cyber person. So my students, when they finish with me, they go up to her. And so she has a pretty solid team after that. And Tony, who also works in the district. So it's fantastic to see so many of you. I'm going to share my screen really quickly. There we go. So if I can get this thing to present, hold on, got to move this out of the way. There we go. There we go. So cybersecurity is, I think, an important skill for so many of the kids. And there's been a huge, huge push in the last couple of years for computer science, which I think is awesome. But I think cybersecurity needs to kind of go hand in hand with computer science, because the more kids understand about cybersecurity, when they're creating their programs, the more insight they have as they're creating their programs as to the issues that might arise, or some concerns that they might have about programs that they create. So I was asked to define what cybersecurity is, and so I decided to use Spencer Doyle, who is now a sophomore at Eastlake High School, but he still comes down to my middle school to mentor my students. And this was his definition of what cybersecurity and what it means to be on a cyber team. He said cyber teams learn to work together and delegate tasks. Vulnerabilities and issues come from many different sources on a computer, and it can be difficult to find the source. By splitting up tasks in a team, solutions can be found much more efficiently and thoroughly. We learn to safely navigate a computer, its settings, and its various dependencies like servers and external devices. We learn how to do this while also ensuring proper access, integrity, and privacy is maintained. We learn how to solve general problems with computers and how to improvise to create new solutions. Mind you, that's a definition coming from a sophomore in high school. So he has been part of my cyber team since he was in 7th grade, and is now up at the high school and is a pretty amazing kid. He passed the APCSA exam as a freshman. So it tells you a little bit about the type of kid that he is, but I'm lucky enough that he still comes down and actually works with my students on cybersecurity. And then this came from my mentor, who works with NIWIC, that used to be SPAWAR. For those of you that know it as SPAWAR, they've now changed their name to NIWIC. The students have gained a phenomenal breadth of skills, everything from advanced computer administration and networking to security, auditing, and penetration testing. But beyond the skills themselves, the real joy as a mentor is watching the students apply these tools in a holistic fashion to solve real-world security problems. For me, what's amazing about this, and to hear both of their definitions about what they learn, is, my kids are anywhere from 12 to 14 years old, and they're learning how to do all of these things that a lot of adults don't know. And so a quick background how I got involved. Unlike most of you, I do not have a background in computer science at all. I have a multiple subject credential with a supplemental in English and a master's in reading, but fell in love with computers, started teaching graphics. When the push for computer science came along, I kind of jumped in with both feet and decided that it was something that I wanted to do. But before I even started teaching computer science, I had some kids in my graphics classes that were amazing at computers, and they would get through their projects, and I needed something for them to do to challenge them. And I got this email from, at the time it was the San Diego Mayor's Cup, and they said, hey, if you have anybody that would compete, no experience necessary. And I emailed them back and I said, well, if you really mean that no experience is necessary, then I'm in, because I was totally clueless. I had no idea what anything was. And that's how I got started. And that was, I think, 9 years ago. And the first year we couldn't even compete because we couldn't load the images because our computers were so out of date that we didn't have enough memory to run the VMware. So then the second year, towards the end of the year, I reached out and got a mentor. And with the help of the mentor, we were able to get one vulnerability on the whole system, but it was a success. It was better than the year before. We actually got on and we got a vulnerability. And then every year since then, everything has just built. I will tell you, the students know way more than I do. I am not going to tell you that I am some guru, that I know so much, because I don't. When I have questions, I ask my mentor or I ask the students, and we look it up together, we figure it out together. What I'm good at is creating the teams and teaching them how to take notes on the stuff that they do, how to keep their stuff organized, and how to learn new stuff. So please understand that even if you have a computer science background, a lot of people, they don't teach cyber because they're not comfortable with it, because they don't feel like they're a professional. I haven't been a professional in any of the things that I've taught for the last 10 years. So for me, it's the experience, and most of the time you'll find that the kids are okay with you learning with them, and that's why you reach out for a mentor. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. This year, we actually finished 10th in the nation out of nearly 800 teams for Cyber Patriots. So that was a huge, huge boost, although I am losing my team lead, who happens to be Spencer's little brother. So now I won't have Spencer or Joseph Doyle, which, but Patricia's really lucky because she's going to be getting him at the high school. And so now she's going to have both Doyle brothers. So that's awesome. And they've both said that they will continue to come down to the middle school and mentor my kids, which is a huge part of building a cybersecurity program, is that sustainability and having kids that get so involved that they're willing to come back and give back, and the kids teach each other, at least for me. So why teach cybersecurity? For adults can prepare students for the risks that they face and what to do when they encounter them. But as much as anything, kids grow up with a strong foundation in these practices, can begin to fill all the cybersecurity skill shortages and help keep everyone safe. There are as many job openings for cybersecurity as there are for computer science. So we keep saying there are all these jobs open for computer scientists, and there are for sure, but there are just as many for cybersecurity. What do we hear on the news all the time? It's all the breaches, it's all the things going on. Every company now has cyber specialists. The districts, our school districts, have cyber specialists because they have to make sure that our infrastructure is stable and going to maintain everything. And so all of these are positions that are open around the country. And so it's important that we introduce them to this just as much as computer science. In my experience, the students that have participated in cyber seem to have a stronger grasp of potential constraints and considerations when they're creating their apps and web pages in CS classes. So when we start talking about apps and I say, you know, what issues do you think might arise from a program like this? The cyber kids seem to have a much stronger grasp of what some of those issues might be because they've seen some of those attacks or they've seen some of those issues in their cybersecurity training. They learn how to work cohesively as a group. You know, they can't all be working necessarily on the same problem, but they need to be able to divide and conquer. And if they get stuck, ask each other for help and switch off tasks. So it is definitely a team building thing. I will tell you that it has some of the same equity issues. Cybersecurity industry, I had a female mentor and she came and talked to me about at one point about how difficult it can be an industry for the women because they are so few and far between. And so we need to open this up for both our females, our low income, our racially diverse students so that it has the same, I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this. We should see an ethnically diverse population throughout, just like we do in computer, or like we should in computer science. The cool thing about cyber that I think is a little bit different is that while college degrees are encouraged and more programs are opening up at local community colleges and at the university level, that's very, very new. And so a lot of students can still pass certifications and get a job right out of high school in cybersecurity. And then if they decide to go back later on, they can get their degree later on. But we all know, I would love to tell you every one of my students is going to go on to college, but we all know better than that. Some of them have life experiences. Some of them have things that are happening that will prevent them from going straight to a four-year university. So we need a path for those kids, and some of them love computers. So why not give them this tool? And if they can pass some of these certifications by the time they get out of high school, we're actually putting them in a place to be able to start in the workforce and then possibly go on to university. Sometimes the companies will pay for it. Sometimes they'll have to pay for it, but at least they'll have a solid job going into it. The comparison to CS, obviously they both require a lot of logic and problem solving. The biggest difference is some of my kids that have a lot of issues with the creativity aspect in particular of computer science. Like, I don't know what I want to create. I don't know what kind of app I should build. The problems are kind of put out there. Okay, we know this is what happened. Now we need to solve it. So they're still solving a problem. They still have to figure out a way to solve it, but the problem tends to be right there in front of them. And then certain CS skills have been really beneficial, like changing IP addresses into binary code. For some of the more advanced kids, like I know Spencer works on writing scripts in Python that he can put into the program, so he can put the script in and it will automatically look for updates and look for certain vulnerabilities. My middle school students don't get too much into this script writing. I'll be perfectly honest. They're not quite at that level yet, but that's where they should be going by the time they get into high school. That's kind of the goal. And then I found that a few of my cyber students that have struggled with programming, but they still love computers, they tend to excel in cybersecurity. Maybe it's just at the middle school level, but my job is to get them to love something. And if they love it, then maybe as they move forward, they'll be willing to push through some of the drier, more complicated, complex things that they come across. So it gives them a sense of accomplishment because, you know, over the years, we've created this checklist, and every year we add to the checklist of things, vulnerabilities for them to find in these systems. And so they can they have a checklist to go by, so they can actually go in and say, yes, I did this. Yes, I did this. And to see their reactions when, if you know Cyber Patriots, you get a little Mario sounding music when you get points. And so to hear some of them get points and everybody goes, oh, somebody got points. So it's kind of a cool thing to see the gamification of the cybersecurity aspect really draws a lot of the kids in. And for the kids that like competition, having that competition aspect of it, they like it. I will tell you, I know, for example, Tony at Olympian High, he has a cybersecurity class. This is middle school. We're not going to get a cybersecurity class. So mine's an after school club. There are benefits and drawbacks to each. I would love to have a cybersecurity class. If I had a pathway up through the high school, my dream was to have cybersecurity. So it would be like APCSP, APCSA, and then cybersecurity as the final class, because I think that they do kind of go hand in hand. I will tell you that I've had an easier time, believe it or not, getting female members on my cyber team than I have in my cyber class, in my computer science class. I don't know if it's because of limitation of schedule, but I had 2 all-girls cyber teams this year. So out of 25 kids, I had 10 girls, which is a huge, huge boost. And it's a lot larger than my computer science class numbers, no matter how hard I try. By having the club students, so they're the students that can't fit computer science into their schedules. I have the 25, 6 of the kids are not in my actual computer science classes. They have dual immersion, or they have different things going on. So, or they're taking Spanish. And so those kids, that's their elective, is their foreign language. They can't take computer science. And so this still lets them get involved because they love computers, and gives them something to do. Now, I don't have a coding club because I have the cybersecurity club, and that started before, and I don't have time to do 2, 3, 4 clubs. So maybe that's part of getting some of those kids involved. They're doing cybersecurity instead of a coding club, because I don't have a coding club. I don't really know, but it's been beneficial for me. The 2 sets of competitions, Min was asking me about competitions. There are 2 primary competitions that we participate in. Cyber Patriot is, they send you virtual images, and it looks just like a computer. And it's a lot of cyber hygiene. It's things that an IT professional would do if they were working in a business, in a company, and how they would run the systems. There is free participation for all girls teams and Title I schools. If you are not low income or if you're not a Title I school or an all girls team, you do have to pay. I paid for 3 of my teams this year, and then my 2 all girls teams were free. So that was kind of cool. And then competitions start really early in the year. So I will warn you, if you want to start with Cyber Patriots, you'll have to start as soon as the school year begins, because the first competitions start as early as September, and then they usually go through late February to March if you're making semi-finals or finals. Oops. And then the SoCal Cyber Cup is one that I would love to see everybody participate in. And this is one that you don't have to have a lot of experience. It uses the Haiku Cyber Range, which is an online environment. The online environment is really cool. You don't have to worry about trying to unzip, download, upload, anything else. It's really, really easy in that respect. Most of the kids really like that particular type of gamification. There are some trivia type questions that they can look up on Google so they can have some success, even if they don't have a lot of knowledge. And it is completely free for everybody. And it's only for Southern California. It is run by the California Cyber Guild, and they work really, really hard. They pound the pavement looking for industry companies to foot the bill for everything. So even the finals is, we get monetary awards in Cyber Patriots that has almost 800 middle school teams nationwide. Only 3 middle school teams can make finals. For SoCal Cup, you have 8 high school and 8 middle school teams that make finals. So it's a smaller competition, but yet you get to go, the kids usually get to go to the UCSD Supercomputer Center to compete this year, which is this weekend. Patricia and I will both be competing next weekend, I should say, at finals, which is going to be done remotely. So that will be an experience. In this, there's usually a practice round, and then there's a qualification round, and then there's finals. So it's not tons and tons of competition time. It's not quite as stressful. I highly recommend that you guys go into that. This is a quick demonstration. I got Spencer to put together. This is actually an image, a practice image that he created himself, he and his dad, and he's going to show you.
Cybersecurity competitions typically include a reading that shows basic information about the situation. They also usually have some sort of score report that shows how many points have been awarded so far. Some of the basic and common vulnerabilities are the password policies. In Windows, these are found in the group policy editor. In here, we can change the minimum password length, the password complexity requirements, and how passwords should be stored. If we now check the score report, we will now have those points.
Okay, so that was just a quick example of what the Cyber Patriot competition looks like. Those are the type of things that they're doing, is they're going through all of the settings in the systems and trying to find how to make the system more secure. This is my team over the year. That was Spencer when he was in 8th grade, I believe. He's not in 8th grade anymore. These are my kids this year. And that is my mentor, Luke, from Nywick. And so you can see some of my girls from my girls teams over the years. And you can tell they actually do really have fun. On competition days, we get to take Fridays off. That's one thing I'll recommend. Talk to your administrators. I was able to get them to let my students compete on Fridays, so I don't lose all my athletes. I don't lose any of those that still have, you know, Little League Baseball or those kind of things. And so on Fridays we compete. I usually order pizza or I order food for them. And so they get out of school, they compete. It is a long it's a 6-hour competition. And so they are on the computer close to 6 hours straight but they break for a little bit for pizza, and we have fun with that. So my last thing to kind of wrap everything up, I know I've been talking a lot here, is how to get started if you're interested in starting a team. First and foremost is going to be getting the words out to your students. Mine started with my own classes and then just kind of spread from there. If you have any videos in the mornings, you can always announce it that way. For more female participation, I make it very clear that I want to have an all-girls team. It's really interesting to watch the all-girls teams compete and the boys teams compete because they do things totally differently. The girls are totally methodical and they'll think things through and they'll go through, and the boys will get on and they'll just start going at it, and they'll lose points because they deleted somebody they weren't supposed to delete, and then they have to try and add them back in there. So it's really fun to watch the different dynamics of the different teams. But I would definitely tell the girls that you want an all-girls team, and that might get a few more girls involved. here is a link to the California Cyber Guild. I know Min usually shares the presentations. I highly recommend. They have free training materials. This was not available when I first started. There was nothing out there. You were kind of on your own trying to figure stuff out. They do at least have some training materials that you can try out with your kids just to see what it's like. So even if you don't want to compete, if you just want to go on and try a few things, you're welcome to do that. I also talked to my mentor, Luke from NIWIC, and I said, okay, where would you recommend people look to get a mentor? And he actually gave us some emails of some people that you can reach out to if you are looking for a team member. And there are some pretty solid teams out here. And my guess is UCSD probably has some cyber specialists that would be willing to help out as well. I need to talk to Beth and Min about helping me see if I can find out who those people might be, because that might be a good way to get maybe some graduate students that are cyber focused going out and helping out. And then you can always ask me. Like I said, I've been involved in it for like 9 years and I love it. I love it as much as I love computer science. And I don't think either one should replace the other, but I think that they're both really, really valid and important. And more of our kids, if they understood this better, I think that they would be safer online in general as well. So that is my presentation. Let me stop share. There we go.
That's awesome. Why don't we all give Tara a round of applause for an awesome presentation?
Yay. I should say, does anybody have any questions?
Yeah. I know Susan has something to share. We work closely with the Department of Defense under NIWIC and Yolanda Tanner, and Susan said that Yolanda would be able to send some folks back at SPAWAR and NIWIC to help y'all with recruitment.
Yeah, she definitely is. Like, she has access to funds that she applies for through the Office of Naval Research that allows her to bring funding down to support her people if they need to be at your schools during working hours. She's very equity minded, has 2 sons herself that are in the STEM fields, she's an African American woman who's getting her own doctorate in education, but she's wonderful. She's been a real partner with us on a number of things, and I'm sure she would love to figure out how to get a mentor to. She also provides mentors for FIRST Robotics teams.
Nice.
So,
y'all got any questions? Saval, you have questions?
Yeah, a quick question. I looked into the cybersecurity curriculums in the past and I got lost. So you mentioned the so-called Cyber Cup. My students have Chromebooks, so can we work on the Chromebooks with that curriculum?
It's not really a curriculum, but yes, my students actually, we got some Chromebooks from the district for one of the competitions because I wanted all of the kids to have their own laptops for it. And we have iPads. You can't compete on an iPad, I'll tell you that. No competing on iPads, but the Chromebooks actually work.
Okay.
So that's definitely, I wouldn't recommend it for Cyber Patriot because they're virtual images. So they take up a lot more memory and they might really, really lag. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you'll have a lot more luck, I would say, with the SoCal Cup. And even if, try it out, they're gonna get a few things, they're gonna figure a few things out, and then you just build from there. That's kind of the cool part about it, is because it's free, there's no harm in just trying it and seeing how they do. And that's kind of how to get started sometimes. That's what we do.
I know Aaron Duran has a comment about doing Cyber Cup. It was hard for newbies and a new mentor to figure it out. Would you have any advice or tips?
I didn't know that anybody was having trouble with it. I will tell you, it started as the San Diego Mayor's Cup, and it was a lot like Cyber Patriot. and then they switched a couple of years ago, and now they've switched again to haiku. It didn't seem like my students had tons of problems maneuvering it, but I can talk to my mentor and get back to you about what he would recommend that they do to get through that environment if they were having trouble. I know that we did go on to the Haiku Range website and tried to find whatever training materials they had just so that we could try and get the kids on at least a little bit to see what it was like, or to watch some of the videos to see how they did things. And luckily I had Luke, so he was able to show them some stuff. Let me check in with him, Aaron, and I'll get back to you as to what he recommends to get kids ready for the haiku environment.
All right, next question is from Art.
Hey everybody, it's great to see everyone. Wow, Tara, you drew a huge crowd. This is awesome. Gosh, it's so great to see so many people on our meeting. It's
24 people now.
Yeah, we got so hey, I want to raise first a cheers to Tara, and a cheers to everyone for being here. This is super cool. Salud. Good. That's amazing, Tara. I gotta take a quick drink. All right. I had some things I had to do. Long story. Anyway, sorry that I'm late. I don't know, Tara. Aaron, that's interesting what you said, because I try to do the SalCal and I too struggled with it. And then because of the environment and all the stuff that they were asking me to do to front load it. And I don't know if it's still the same way or not, Tara. Can you, and there's one more thing I want to add before you answer my question. I don't know if anybody talked about Girls Go Cyber Start. Have you done that by chance? I just put the link in the chat.
I checked it out in the past.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody's doing this, but it's completely free, and I've done it, and I just send the link out and have kids explore it, and they all tell me they really they think it's cool. I don't know if you. So Tara, I was going to say two things. One, how's it change and evolve? And two, have you used Girls Go Cyber Start by chance?
I have not used Girls Go Cyber Start. I think they sent something out, and we were like right in the middle of season and between like my two computer science classes and just trying to get through the competitions, because I think my kids have had 7 competitions this year already, or 8 competitions. So those kind of were taking precedence. And so I figured I would look into Girls Go Cyber Start this summer and see if that was something that I could do. I also know that Code HS has a cybersecurity course. And I was looking at possibly using that, especially on days that my mentor wasn't there, to go through and come up with some other curriculum that they can do. But again, then I was getting ready for distance learning, and we all know how that's gone. So that's taking up a little bit of time. So I've been focused on that for the last 3 or 4 weeks. But when you talk about the environment, yes, Art, when you first were doing it, they were trying to copy what Cyber Patriot did, and they were having major issues. And one of our biggest issues was trying to compete on campus because our filters are so strong. And so we couldn't get a lot of this stuff through the filters. So I would have to get a hold of David Del Calzada. At the time, it was David Danico. And say, hey, we need to be able to download this. And luckily I had Steve, who is our IT guy on campus, that also knew enough to help us get on. But I remember telling them I had a meeting with one of the guys that was running it. And I said, it shouldn't be harder to get onto the platform than it is to compete. And that was the situation that a lot of us were having. And so since then, that's when they switched. And they ended up going with Haiku. I think they'll go with any of these online platforms because they're looking to make sure that it's free for everybody to participate. They're going to go with the company that's willing to let them have a free environment. Haiku just did their beta, but I know that my kids actually really enjoyed the environment. They really liked it. They were able to find their way around it. And so I can, in fact, well, I'm not going to be with my kids this year, but I can talk to Spencer and Joseph for sure and talk to them, or even some of my finals kids, and maybe Patricia and I can work together and we can see about putting something together about how to work through the environment and some helpful tips and so forth, since both of our teams have competed the last 2 years on the environment.
You know, you bring up a really interesting point. I would like to propose this to the group. I don't know if you're interested or not, but if, you know, Susan said that Yolanda was somebody that would really like to help us out. Maybe all of us trying to get this, and maybe we can have one of these happy hours where they give us a tutorial and lead us through the process of how to do a cybersecurity. I don't know, who'd be interested in that? I'm just curious. Can you raise your hands if you'd be interested, or check mark? Okay, thank you.
I think we could totally do that. I mean, we could even set up like a mini thread, because I'd imagine if you do something early and then you're going to be in there with your kids and then they're going to be confused and you're going to be frustrated, and then you're going to write down all your questions, and then if there was a meeting like at some key interval shortly after it launched, you could like go in with a bunch of your questions, almost like an office hours, but you'd have like a Tara and a Spencer and a guy from NIWIC, you know what I mean? Like you could do it virtually. So if we could build a little, I don't know, little scaffold around the first efforts for folks.
Yeah,
great.
I think so.
Yolanda would totally help with that, and
yeah,
maybe fund some of it.
Yeah, I think it'd be great if we can all share. I would like to cyber battle everybody here. No, I'm kidding. But I'd like to see how we could. I would actually like to think that'd be great if we can form mini teams and then try to compete with each other and actually go through the experience and see how that works out. I don't know if you guys would be interested, but I'd be gravitating. And would you be interested in doing something like that, Chera? You know, maybe getting us to do something like that, to explore it?
Yeah, I would have to get a hold of, because normally I know they charge for, that's probably the hardest part, I think, is that these companies normally charge for their services, and they give it to the California Cyber Guild for the SoCal Cup for free, but they have very specific practice run times and competition times, and you can't really get onto the system in between those times. But they want to get their name out there, and they want people to experience it, probably in the hopes that somebody will end up buying it, but we'll take advantage of what and when we can. So I definitely think it's something that I do have a contact at Haiku, because I do work with the California Cyber Guild sometimes. And just so you guys know, the California Cyber Guild, the whole point is that teachers like me that first started out, there were absolutely no materials. There was no training. There was no nothing for anybody. And so California Cyber Guild, their goal is to try and have a place where people can find when competitions are, where competitions are. And there's some high school competitions that I don't know about, some capture the flag type stuff that it's not available for middle school kids, but it is available for high school kids. So if you wanted to go a different route, there are some of those that are on there. But it's also a place for teachers that have cyber teams to share out any training materials. So like I've given them my checklist that my students use in Cyber Patriot when they want to look for vulnerabilities. And I'm sharing that with everybody because I want people to have a place to start, because I'll tell you that's the hardest part, is starting at the bottom. So once you start going, the kids start picking it up and they start figuring it out, and it all builds. So like I said, my students know way more than I do about cyber. I give them a place to do it. and they come in and they actually train each other a lot of times, and they work with each other. And Patricia will tell you, at the high school, they pretty much run themselves, and they go on and train themselves, and they learn. It's a phenomenal thing to watch, because the cycle will continue as long as they keep training each other.
That is super cool. Yeah, I really want, as the board, I'm going to propose to the board and everybody here, let's do this, because that'd be really cool. So Min, I'm going to let you, handle the chat, and you could just say, but I'm really excited about this, because I really want to do something like that.
Yeah, so should we, what's the next step? Should we contact Yolanda and then have like an interest group of cybersecurity folks?
Yeah, I think that would be a good call. We can get Tara, and also Yolanda, and, people that know about this, and then we just do a happy hour with everybody here.
Okay.
And I think that would work out really well. And the other thing is, I know Patricia is doing, I know Tony Claudia is doing it as well, correct, Tony? I think you're doing it.
Yes.
Yeah, and you're saying something about the Cyber Girls Go Cyber Start. It's 60 minutes long.
Yeah, there's you can do like an activity that everyone can just go.girlsgocyber. I think the other way there was like a special sign up for teams and everything, but this go.whatever, you can just go right now, look at it.
Okay, I'm gonna send it out to my kids right now, because they need enrichment activities, and I think they enjoy that kind of stuff too. So in the scope of remote instruction, I want them to think about those things as well.
Okay. So we have 8 minutes left. Do we want to ask Tara more questions, or do we want to open the floor up for any announcements? Just chill, happy hour time? What do you folks want to do?
Dina has a question, Min, I think.
Oh, let's see. Yes, question away.
So last year I had a team. It was our second year doing this. The first year they didn't do anything. They I don't think they even answered one question right. But then last year some of them came back and they taught themselves and they qualified for finals. And then we were at the finals, and I always like to pick other people's brains, like how do they get their kids ready? And one of the men there said there's some sort of, I thought it was called Cyber Sandbox or something. And he said colleges use it, but high school kids can get a subscription that's not terribly expensive. It was like $10 or $20 or something for like a season or something, where they could go in and play. I don't know if anyone knows anything about that.
Yeah, I think that's called Cyber League.
Cyber League, okay. For some reason I wrote down Sandbox when I was there, but Cyber League, okay.
There are some sandboxes. I will tell you, one of the most frustrating things I ever did. So I was all excited. I was looking for curriculum. And so I went to this training at Syracuse University and did not realize that I was going in there with a bunch of college professors that all had backgrounds, and they were teaching cybersecurity at the college level. And I'm this middle school English teacher, and I walk in there and they jump on and they're doing Linux and they're in the command line, and I have no idea what's going on. And I walked out that day like ready to cry. I was there for a week. By the end of the week, I finally had gotten some Linux down. I felt a little stupid, but we did use the sandbox quite a bit in there. The sandbox is where professionals, they're like virtual images, and it's where professionals will go in and they can actually watch what's happening. So they can have one sandbox open and be an attacker, and then the other sandbox and see what the attack has done is in essence what they were doing. But that's the only real experience that I've had with the sandbox. And I will tell you, I don't know enough. You're probably talking about Paul, and he works for Northrop Grumman as a cyber specialist. So that's not me. I can't go in and create my own sandbox with vulnerabilities and issues. I just am not there. So, and I would guess that most of us, even with CS backgrounds, that's not where most of us are either. So like I said, the California Cyber Guild, they have a couple of different environments or a couple of different practice rounds that you can do that will help. So I get most of my practice rounds from them.
Super cool. And you know what? I'm really inspired by you, the fact that you challenge yourself to go into an environment like that and just to try to learn for your kids. That's pretty amazing, Tara. You know?
It is.
Let's see. Does anybody have any other questions?
All right, folks. Any more questions? I'm checking the chat box. I'm checking the raise hand. Mark, you have a question?
It's not as much of a question as it is just an observation. And so in my position, I've actually had an opportunity to visit Tara in her classroom. And I will let you all know that she is extremely self-deprecating. You do not have to be, you do not have to be in this arena, especially with cybersecurity, you do not have to be an expert. And so what I'm kind of putting out to the group is many of us are CS experts. We're teaching APCSA, APCS principles, all those things. I would impinge upon you to talk with your peers around your campus and get them to understand that they don't have to be the be-all, end-all of the knowledge base. As a teacher, it's all about taking a learner stance. And kids actually really appreciate this. When you look at your kids and you go, I don't know how that works. Let's figure it out together. Kids love that. And so Tara is an inspiration. Art is the same way. When you don't have a background, but you're like, you know what? I'm going to do this because it's good for students. That is the name of the game. And we need more people involved in digital activities. Let's just call it that. And you don't have to have that.
If he bites that, actually, sorry. Oh. Sorry, I didn't know I was muted. The dog's attacking something. We have
But Susan, I respect you. You can chime in anytime. So
don't bite anything, Mark.
cursing.
So, but I'm just trying to say hats off to Tara and to Art as well. When you take that learner stance and you're willing to take a risk, that's good teaching. And everything that we do, no matter what the field is, it's about teaching. And I would encourage you to try to get more of your peers on campus that awareness and that stance so that we can get more kids involved. That's the name of the game. And I'm done. Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's really cool. I think everybody here is exactly the same way. Everybody here loves to learn, or else we wouldn't be here. You know, that's well said, Mark. Question? It really is. Tara, you're not crying? Okay, I'm just checking. Okay.
So Torianne has something, Art.
I just wanted to, Tara, how often does your club meet? Like, and when you meet, for how long? Just if I was going to put that together, how long after school or when do you meet?
So generally we meet on Wednesdays. My mentor can't be there on Wednesdays. So Wednesdays is, honestly, it's about 45 minutes after school. And that's more to set up, like if we want to buy our sweatshirts or we want to, I need to let them know about a competition and I want them to put stuff on their calendar, or what do we have coming up, or if there's anything that I want them to prep for. So those Wednesdays, I pretty much set aside for any of our general conversations, so that then Fridays we really focus with the mentor there. We have minimum days on Friday and it's PLC day, but I'm a PLC of 2 when Andy doesn't have to go to Spanish, and 1 on most days. And so because of that, I choose to spend my PLC time having my cyber club. So we meet after schools usually from 1, let me see, we get out of school at 12:51, so from 1 to 3. So I do a 2-hour. You wouldn't have to do a whole 2-hour. Trust me, sometimes that 2 hours goes really long. I'm like, okay, it's sometimes too much time. I would say twice a week for an hour, once a week for an hour. They're still going to learn. They're still going to get stuff. But that's how much time I've spent.
So we have Susan, and then Brian has a question.
Go to
Yeah,
Brian.
can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me? Yeah, not sure if this is really helpful, but I just wanted to make the distinction for everybody between really two different realms of cybersecurity. And one is the realm where you're coding, where, say, you're coding up a database on the web, and you, in your code, put checks for certain kinds of things, say password properties and stuff like that. That's right in the code. And then the second realm is the kind of stuff Tara's dealing with, where she's not getting into the coding, but she's using features of the app that allow you to configure security features. And so there really is a big spectrum of places where the cybersecurity issue gets tackled. So that was my comment.
Thank you, Brian. That was really cool that you made that distinction for us, and that's great.
Can I
Well,
just
man,
ask a question really quick? Because
yeah.
Does anybody know anything about the USD NSF grant that was offering a coding cybersecurity like camp for high school teachers? Did anybody ever hear about that, participate in it, have an opinion about its value one way or the other? I don't know the researchers who ran it, and so you won't offend me if you know something good or bad.
I've been working with USD quite a bit. A gentleman named Mark, I had a conversation with him yesterday. They are just working with the Army Cyber Command. And so they're trying to pilot like a 1 semester high school course aimed primarily at junior ROTC folks. They've also do some Saturday workshops up there, but they're not free. So
there was a couple other faculty there that were running a high school teacher professional development for teachers who wanted to get to start in the cybersecurity world. So I'll assign it to maybe me or Mark, or the couple of us could find these people and see if they're.
Yeah, if you want to talk later on, we can coordinate.
Yeah.
Susan.
Okay, I just wondered.
All right. So I want to call time. It is now past 6 o'clock. So tomorrow, I know I sent out information on the E3 Civic High. Is Stephen still online? Stephen, you want to just quickly make an announcement about your event tomorrow for anyone who's interested?
Sure, I'd love to. We have about 24 sessions. With each session, we'll have 4 presentations on a design thinking project from one of our student groups. These kids have been working on this all year, and when we got sent home from school, we were worried we wouldn't be able to present. So we'd love anybody who can come and give them feedback on their projects. These are design thinking projects, so getting feedback and incorporating it is a huge part of it. So you can go to our website. It's really easy to remember. It's exhibition.e3civichigh.com and pick out which session you'd like to go to and register free of Zoom link. I'll throw the link in chat. Oh, it's already there. So that's great. So we'd love to see you out there. Our keynote kicks off at 4. The presentations start around 4:30.
Thank you, Stephen. That's awesome. And what do you think, man? That's it?
Yeah, that's it. That concludes our awesome CSTA Happy Hour series.
All right. Well, hey, one big round of applause for Tara. Yay! Tara, thank you so much for sharing. Everybody, that was cool to see so many people. I'm so happy to see everybody.
We got 25 people.
Yep. And,
thank you guys for coming. It meant a lot to have so many people here.
It's super cool. You had a great presentation, something really important to share with us. And we'll work on getting the cybersecurity thing so that we can meet again and get everybody there. we'll try to put it together and figure it out. We'll figure out next week too.
Yeah.
We'll look, right, Min?
Yep. So if the board and if Susan wants to stay on, we'll talk about next week and the coming weeks and what to discuss.
Okie dokie. All right, everybody. Well, it's great to see you. Please stay healthy and safe. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Tara. Thank you so much, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers. Oh, wow. Look at that.
I'm going to leave in just a second. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you for having me in. I really appreciate it. I'm surprised so many people came, but that was cool. Thank you, guys.
Tara, I'm inspired. I'm inspired, Tara. I'm going to start a cyber club. Thank you.
That's my goal, is to get more like teams in San Diego County.
You got me on the. You got me to want to do it next year.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna try. We'll see. My bandwidth, but I'm gonna try. I think it's cool.
It is cool.
Thank you, Tara. That was awesome.
Puppy.
All right. So, in the next week, my question is: should we always have a happy hour series? Should we end it sometime? So, should there be like a break period?
Well, I apologize. I haven't been for the last two, but what's our attendance been like? Because today was
yeah, it's
amazing.
a lot. Yeah, so it's been anywhere from like 8 to 15, and with the most today is like 25.
That's great turnout.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there even a week where there was 8 only? I don't even feel like there was a week that there was that few. Although maybe I missed one.
There was 8 when we were just chilling and there wasn't anything going on, and we recorded a commercial for
Mark.
Whatever happened with that?
Oh, I don't know.
He sent us an email. Remember, he sent us an email, and then he said something happened to the recording. I wasn't too clear on it.
Wait, who's he?
Mark Landsberger. He's the San Diego County of Ed.
He got the mohawk.
His coordinator. And I guess one of the local television stations approached about getting a 1-minute snippet from teachers, and I just threw out there,